Residents in a number of areas in Gauteng are queuing for water this morning. An explosion at the Palmet water pump station has caused disruptions in Johannesburg, Tshwane and Ekurhuleni. Rand Water says it's dispatched water tankers to affected areas. Let's go live now to our reporters, Nqobile Madlala in Soshanguve, north of Pretoria, and Manqoba Mchunu is in Linmeyer in Johannesburg, in the south of the city. Let me start with you, Nqobile, because the areas around Tshwane, Midrand and the likes are among the worst affected. Just tell me what picture you are seeing this morning in as far as people trying to get by without this essential of life.
Well, Tulas, from this morning, there seems to be an issue with regards to the tankers that we know or we have heard from the statement from the Tshwane municipality saying that they have dispatched some of the tankers. But from where we're standing, this is one of the areas that we're said to have had tankers. There seems to be none of that. In fact, the people here are getting water from a pipe that they're not sure where the water is coming from, but they're saying that they need to bath. And so you see a number of people, you see there's long lines. Some of them at this point are feeling like they're not adhering to the COVID-19 regulations. In fact, they were telling us a little bit earlier, saying that they have been here for so long that yesterday when they were here, they actually broke that regulation rule to be at home before the curfew because they were still waiting for some water. But to speak to some of the young people that are here, I just want to find out, ma'am, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling so frustrated because we have to stand in such a long line to get water for us to go drink and bath and do whatever that we need around the house. So the municipality is just failing us. By now, they should have allocated tanks around our community in order for us to get water so that we can do and go about that.
All right. And you, ma'am, you also have been here for quite some time, and you were telling us that you need even water for the toilets at home. So tell us, how has that affected you?
I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm angry at this point because it's been 2 days now without water. And I'm sorry to say this, but since yesterday, I felt the need to go release at the toilet, but then I couldn't because I'm like, okay, what if the water doesn't come back? And the little that we had to take, we had to travel to CBD to get water. First of all, it's fuel. Fuel has increased and, honestly, I'm mad. And now if you could go to the highway now, there are people there getting water from the highway and it's sewage water. People are going to drink that water, they're going to cook with that water, and it's COVID now, and there are new variants that have just come up, and now it's going to be, we'll be fighting against COVID and cholera and all these other things that people are going to get from drinking that dirty water. Honestly, LC is failing us. There are tanks there, they're doing a tar road, there are tanks there busy, they're using water, they got tanks there, but then they're just failing to bring us at least 1 or 2 tanks so that at least each household can get 2 buckets of water so that we can cook and, go on with the...
your business, of course. Yeah. And you, ma'am, you were telling us that you have communicated with the councillor?
You know what? I'm very frustrated, angry at the same time. What's happening and how action Iran. She's staying there wherever she is. What about the people? Look, the people are suffering here. What about us? We have kids. Our elderly, they're sick, need medication to eat. They don't even know where to eat now, what to eat. So what does she do? People are suffering, but on top of it, that's suffer. How communicate? I really plan it already. At least I don't really Jojo tank or the water can eat. So now I'm not happy. I'm very frustrated where I am right now. Pissed off.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Well, there you have it, Tula. Some of the youth here just expressing their concerns with regards to this no water situation where we are. They're also just complaining about the fact that there hasn't been that much communication from the councillor. We did reach out to her. She said she is at the moment out of the area. So she said to us, though, she is currently trying to get the tankers to be to come this way. She says she's trying to get some water, but also just warning us that this is something that is happening in the whole of Gauteng. So she really was not understanding why we are here in her block, but she did say that she was going to get somebody to speak to us with regards to the situation while she is a bit held up.
Yeah, well, yeah, that question why she doesn't understand why you are in her area, given that this is a situation across Gauteng. I don't know if it tells us anything about empathy, right? Because it may be a situation affecting all of Gauteng, but what are you doing for the community that you represent to ameliorate and sort of help them cope a little better, see if you can get them any help? It's not really about showing you off to be a bad councillor or anything, but it's about, you know, you have your area's best interest at heart. But anyway, I digress. Let me take you to eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu, who is in Linmeyer in the south of Johannesburg. Nqobile, stand by there. I will ask you one more question before I let you go. But Manqoba, Linmeyer is about 5 kilometers away from the headquarters of Rand Water, which is where this problem starts from with the explosion at their pump station in Palmet. Any news from Rand Water or other people in Linmeyer, any the wiser as to where the water has gone? What's happening with the water situation?
Well, Tula, certainly a lot of frustrated residents here in Linmeyer. Of course, they haven't had water here since Sunday, and many of them saying that at this particular point they've just been receiving messages on their WhatsApp groups informing them that the water is likely to be restored in this particular area only by Sunday. So you can understand the frustration on the ground. Certainly many of the residents are queuing up this morning. They've come out here. I've just got to step out of shot so that you can see the situation here. It is quite a desperate situation here in Linmeyer, and we understand as well as some of the surrounding suburbs here in the south of Johannesburg. We've been seeing 2 water tankers so far in this particular area, and I can tell you, Tulas, that there have been quite a number of cars, vehicles that have been arriving here with buckets and some of the containers to come and get water. And many of the residents that we've spoken to earlier on saying that it is quite frustrating because they simply cannot do many of the chores that they do in their houses. But not only that, the biggest concern, of course, is COVID-19 and the fact that many of them saying that they are now forced to leave their residences to try and get water just because of the water supply that has been cut. So there is not quite a good understanding of what it is exactly that has caused the water to be interrupted, but residents are saying that they are quite frustrated. In fact, let me bring in one of the residents here who's here. I see Makulu here coming to get water this morning. Ma, it must be quite frustrating not having water. How are you doing as residents?
Bara, can I talk Zulu or Xhosa?
You can talk to anyone.
There's no water. We can't do washing. The washing is like that in the machines. There's no water. There's water that's for cooking, and that must wash that. Just make the wet and wash your face and it's finished and it's clear. If that water is finished, when we will come and get water? Maybe late, maybe they don't come the afternoon. We will make for tomorrow again. What is wrong with the separatist pipes? We're voting and voting for the ANC. Nothing's happened. What must we do?
And now I know you're telling me earlier on that you actually didn't plan coming out of your house, but now you're forced to come here because you don't have water.
There's no water. You can't flush the toilets. There's no water. So there's water for the cooking now. And we'll come again for put it in the toilet. And then what? If it's finished, what must we do?
Are you concerned at all about COVID-19? I can see that, there's not much social distancing happening here. People are just desperate to get water and, go home. Are you concerned?
Don't, never mind that we see a lot of that COVID, everything like that. But the most, if there's no water for the COVID, what must we do? What do we drink? So we must wash and drink the water. And then what?
Okay.
We must put a little bit of wet water to wash our hands for that COVID. Katie, come here.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps let's move to Sis Kathy. She's also among some of the residents that are walking from their houses to us. Some of them are actually walking and coming with their buckets here to get water. Kathy, also you are one of the residents that are quite frustrated with this water issue in this particular area.
Day 4 days without water. The water only started coming around the tank, let's say on the 3rd day. I mean, I've got a grandchild, 1 year, 6 months. You tell me, what am I supposed to do? The washing is piling up and the weather is not playing its part. But I'm not going to complain. Right now, I'm grateful. I can go cook for my family.
Are you getting answers in terms of when this situation is likely
to be
knows.
No one knows. No one knows. They're not giving us a straight answer. If I don't keep coming out of my yard to look, I wouldn't even know that the water tank is here. Huh?
Have there been enough water tankers though since Sunday?
No, it's only this one. And it only comes once a day. It's not even like it comes twice or 3 times. Once a day. Now you must fill up as much as you can.
Okay, thank you for speaking to us. Okay, Tulas, you can hear the frustrations from residents here, and one of the biggest issues, of course, is the water tankers themselves. When we arrived here, Tulas, early in the morning, we didn't see any water tankers in this particular area. In fact, we searched around about 4 stops where these water tankers were meant to be. They just arrived a few minutes ago here in this community, and I can see already in just those few minutes, the queues here are getting longer and longer as more people want to get water for their houses. So this is a situation here on the south of Johannesburg. Residents queuing up to get water.
So, Manqoba and Nqobile, let me check with you, Nqobile. You know, given the sites that we are seeing and the frustration of the people in the various affected areas, any word from Rand Water?
Well, at this point, Tulas, all we know is from that point when we spoke to them that there are people that are working around the clock to make sure that there is water. But they did highlight yesterday that they are pumping water, saying that they are pumping over 50% of it, which is 50%, 55% to be exact, saying that some of the high-lying areas are going to be affected. Now, we do know that that's how Midrand and Soshanguve are also part of those areas that are affected. So far, though, we do know that that's what's currently happening, but nothing new really, as there is no timeline as to when this problem will be fixed. But we do know also the officials this side, they said that they are releasing tankers, they are adding more tankers to go into communities, but there's only so much really, because as we were speaking to some of the people here, they were telling us that some of them even got a water tanker that was coming from out of the province, because that's where they could get some water. So a dire situation really at this point.
Yeah, it feels like a doomsday scenario, even just the prospect of a few hours without water, the panic that it triggers in the mind, just wondering what will you do for the next 4, 8, 24, 48 hours. It really is absolutely frustrating. I've seen from time to time when we've had water cuts. For now, colleagues, let's leave it there. Manqoba Mchunu and Nqobile Madlala are monitoring the situation with water there. In fact,